So we're going to go spell, spell again. Mana is going through the roof. We're playing more and more spells, so our future storm count keeps going up too. We have all this mana, but unfortunately it's red. Fortunately, we flip up a Manamorphose and can cantrip ourselves blue for Mind's Desire, or black for the Tendrils kill. Tendrils is convenient in that you need a smaller storm count. But you'll also see some decks with Drape Shot, sometimes combined with Pyromath or SWOT. It's more versatile. Either card kill is going to benefit from playing a lot of spells in a single turn. You'll see one or the other in most starting 60s of the extended Storm deck. And this is a deck you're going to want to know. And welcome to the SWOT analysis for Extended Storm. SWOT stands for Strengths, Weaknesses, Opportunities, and Threats. Strengths represent the internal, largely controllable positives for a deck or strategy. And Storm has strength in spades. The backbone of its Mind's Desires makes it overwhelmingly powerful. Allows it to transform mana into card advantage and easily overcome most permission. Only specialized counterspells can usually stand in the way of Storm. While we would call Storm fundamentally strong, it has internal, unavoidable weaknesses. For instance, Storm has to play multiple, often relatively expensive spells in one turn. This can make life difficult if the opponent has Gaddock Tiger, Ethersworn Canonist. Grand Prix champion Luis Scott-Varas recognized the problem and decided to play main deck Electrolyze to deal with the pesky tutus. As for opportunities, Storm was one of the most underrepresented decks in recent memory. Fairies was known to be popular at the time that Storm came back, and Fairies is a very poor matchup with Storm. As for threats, Storm would be a victim of its own popularity. You will see most competitive Storm decks packing Brain Freeze to steal a game or two when the opponent has the audacity to go first. This is just a superb opening hand, especially on the play. With 2 Lotus Blooms, 2 lands, deck manipulation, and Mind's Desire, we are near lock to go off on turn 4 with a Storm count of 4 or more. With the opponent showing us that he's the mirror match and not a deck with Thoughtseize, he pretty much needs Giga Drowse in order to not lose on the 4th turn. I'm charging up Dreadship Reef here instead of using Peer Through Depths. I'm going to use Peer Through Depths on the same turn as Mind's Desire to just increase that Storm count. Another turn, another charge counter. With 2 charge counters on Dreadship Reef, we actually get to accelerate some additional mana. Alright, the fun begins. He's going to pick a fight with a Remand, and we're going to Remand it right back. If he doesn't have a Stifle for his Steam Vents, we're pretty much just going to go off. 2 Lotuses and 2 Remands have given us a fair amount of spells to start out with already, but we're just going to continue with more Peer Through Depths and Mana Acceleration so that our Mind's Desire is as impressive as it can be. You'll notice I'm passing on Tendrils here in favor of a Ponder, even though I have Manamorphose in my hand. The reason is I want to play the Manamorphose before the Mind's Desire in order to increase Storm count, and I don't want to get stuck with the Tendrils that I can't play. I do end up taking a Tendrils the second time around, but now that we know there's a Mind's Desire coming off of the previous Mind's Desire, the chances of not going off are pretty much nil. Yep, and that's it. We're skipping ahead to a Game 3 situation now. In Game 2 I lost a very tight one where I was on the draw. Starting hand isn't as impressive as last time, but we do have some acceleration as well as a Giga Drowse. The Giga Drowse is going to allow us to time walk him in case his Lotus helps him get there before we can go off, even though we're going first. He's been using his mana very effectively, Ponder and Peer Through Depths. We're just adding counters to Dreadship Reef at this point. But untap rolls around on turn 4, and what's this? Just about the best draw that we could have had. I actually think about using Giga Drowse before going off with Mind's Desire, but I decide that instead I'm going to go spell, Mind's Desire, and then just try to defend myself with Remand if need be. We've flipped Mind's Desire and Tendrils and Remand and redundant copies of the cards we need. It's pretty academic at this point. That said, we're going to go for a fun finish with a big Tendrils, and then in response to a lethal Tendrils on the stack, Brain Freeze, Remand, Brain Freeze, and the even crazier thing about this finish is that my opponent is such a good sport that he doesn't actually concede in response. So Here come a lot of things on the stack, and they're very fun, and I think you can probably see how powerful Mind's Desire is. So that's the Storm deck. In my experience, since Louis Scott-Varas' win at the Grand Prix, it's become about the most popular deck on Magic Online. And with good reason, it's quite good against Fairy Wizards. About a week ago, I was brainstorming with Asher Hecht about ways to fight the Storm deck, and I thought of Chalice of the Void. And he pointed out that Luis has got Shattering Spree in his sideboard, so that doesn't even work. Like we've said from the first frame, Storm is a deck you're going to want to know. This has been Michael J. Flores. I hope you enjoyed it.